What if I told you that you could walk into any room, any negotiation, any conversation, and have the upper hand without ever raising your voice or proving a point? That you could outmaneuver the smartest person, not by knowing more, but by seeing more. Welcome back to Take and Grow, your daily source for self-improvement, motivation, and unlocking your full potential.
Olivia, that's an incredibly enticing promise. Most people think outsmarting means having the highest IQ or the most facts. But you're suggesting it's a completely different kind of intelligence.
Exactly, Jason. Most people think intelligence is about IQ, about facts, degrees, and big words. It's not. Outsmarting someone has very little to do with what you know and everything to do with how well you understand people, including yourself. The truth is, most people are running on autopilot, reacting instead of responding, talking more than they listen, desperate to be seen as smart, respected, powerful, without realizing they're exposing their weaknesses with every word.
So the smartest people don't talk the most? They're observing?
Absolutely. The smartest people don't talk the most. They watch. They read between the lines. They know how to sit in silence so thick, it makes the other person unravel. They never play all their cards because they don't need to. One strategic move is all it takes if it's the right one. If you've ever walked away from a conversation thinking, I should have said this, I should have done that, then this episode is for you.
This isn't about manipulation or deception, is it? It sounds more like strategic awareness.
Precisely. This isn't about manipulating anyone or deception. This is about understanding how the game is played so you stop being played. For the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you how to outsmart anyone. Not with arrogance, not with aggression, but with strategy, awareness, and precision. You don't need to be the loudest or the most experienced. You just need to see what they don't want you to see and know exactly when to move. Let's begin with the first crucial step. Before you ever think about outsmarting anyone else, you have to first outsmart yourself.
Outsmart myself? That sounds strange, but I get the feeling it's the most important part.
It is. The real battlefield isn't in the boardroom, the courtroom, or across a dinner table. It's in your own mind. If you can't control your emotions, your thoughts, your reactions, someone else will. Think about it. Every time you get triggered, every time you lose your temper, get defensive or flustered, what you're really doing is handing over control. You're giving someone else the ability to pull your strings. And when they know they can get a reaction out of you, they've already won.
That's not power, that's predictability. And predictability is a weakness. So mental mastery is the foundation.
Absolutely. Mental mastery means being able to pause when every part of you wants to explode. It means holding steady when you're under pressure, when you're being challenged, when you're being pushed to the edge. You can't outthink someone when your emotions are doing the thinking for you. And that's exactly what happens to most people. They get hijacked by their own feelings. Anger, insecurity, fear, ego, all of those things cloud your judgment and distort your decision-making.
The calmest person in the room is often the most powerful, even if they're not the loudest.
That level of stillness comes from discipline and mental training. You train your mind the same way you train your body, in small, repeated challenges. When someone interrupts you, do you immediately snap back, or can you hold the line and respond with calm? When you feel the need to correct someone to protect your ego, can you instead sit back and let it go, knowing that silence is sometimes more powerful than being right?
Every interaction is a chance to practice this skill then.
Precisely. The moment you let someone make you feel small, angry, or frustrated, you've already lost the advantage. You're reacting, not leading. And people who want to manipulate or control you, they feed off of that. They study your tells, they look for cracks in your armor, and your emotions are the easiest ones to exploit. That's why outsmarting anyone starts with internal control. It starts with knowing your triggers better than anyone else does. Because the moment you know where you're vulnerable, you can protect it. You stop walking into situations blind. You stop giving away pieces of yourself just to feel seen or validated.
So understanding your own insecurities is key to disarming others.
Ask yourself, What makes you feel insecure? What kind of comments or people rattle you and why? When you understand that, you stop becoming an easy target. You stop playing checkers in a game of chess. Mental mastery also means not taking things personally. This is huge. Most people walk around with open wounds, so when someone criticizes them, ignores them, or challenges them, it hits too deep. But when you've done the inner work, when you know your own worth, those things don't land. You become untouchable, not because you don't feel, but because you don't let temporary feelings dictate permanent actions.
It's about emotional intelligence, not emotional suppression.
Exactly. Emotions are powerful when you're in charge of them. Emotional intelligence is the secret weapon. It means being able to read the room, understand your own state, and regulate your response in real time. It's like having a control panel in your head while everyone else is reacting on impulse. The calmest person in the room is usually the one with the most control. Think about high-stakes professionals, interrogators, negotiators, elite performers. They're trained to slow their breath, observe instead of react, and stay composed no matter what chaos is happening around them. That doesn't come from luck. It comes from intention, preparation, and practice.
So we can all train like that in everyday life? How do we start?
Start by observing your thoughts. Watch how your mind spins when someone challenges you. Watch how your body reacts. Heart racing, hands tightening, breath shortening. That's your nervous system hijacking your power. But if you can notice it in the moment and take control, even just by pausing and taking a breath, you win. That breath is everything. It's the space between stimulus and response. It's where your power lives.
That's a powerful tool for mastering your mindset and building confidence.
Outsmarting someone isn't about who has the highest IQ or the most facts. It's about who can hold their ground, who can see clearly under pressure, who can listen without needing to speak, who can let silence do the heavy lifting. This leads us to our second pillar. Mental strength also means knowing when not to act.
Restraint. That's one of the most underestimated forms of intelligence. We often assume the smart move is always the bold move, the clever remark, the mic drop moment. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is hold back, to let others underestimate you, to let the moment pass because you see a better opening coming.
This is where strategy lives, in stillness, in patience, in awareness. When you master your own mind, you start seeing the place 3 moves ahead. You stop getting pulled into petty arguments. You stop reacting to noise, and you start leading the room without saying a word.
That's truly powerful. It's about playing chess, not checkers.
So the next time you find yourself in a high-pressure moment, ask yourself, am I in control or am I being controlled? Am I responding or am I reacting? The answer to those questions will tell you everything you need to know about who really has the power, because power doesn't always speak. Sometimes it just watches and waits. Most people think the ability to outsmart someone comes down to knowledge, strategy, or some kind of advanced trickery. But the truth is much simpler and much harder. The real edge, the one that makes someone quietly powerful, is self-control. It's not just knowing what to say or do, it's knowing when not to speak, when not to act, and how to master the one thing most people overlook, their own mind.
He who angers you controls you. That's not just a quote. It's a profound truth.
It is truth. The moment someone else can make you feel anything, angry, insecure, embarrassed, they've taken control. And they can use that control against you, often without saying much. They can shift your focus, make you second guess, push you into a reaction that makes you look weak. And you'll think it was your idea, but it wasn't. It was theirs. They played you because they had the one thing you didn't in that moment: emotional discipline.
We live in a world that rewards reactivity, especially online. Quick clapbacks, snap judgments.
But the people who truly hold power, the kind that isn't just loud but lasting, are never reactive. They don't rush, they don't break their silence unless it serves them, and they're not afraid of stillness. Stillness makes most people uncomfortable. We equate silence with weakness, but silence is often the sharpest weapon in the room. It unnerves people. It forces them to fill the space, to talk too much, to reveal too much, all because they need the reassurance of a response.
So if you've trained your mind to be at ease in that silence, you hold the upper hand.
You let the other person do the work. You let them reveal their position, their emotions, their next move. And that's the thing. When your mind is quiet, you can actually hear. You can actually see. You pick up on tone, posture, word choice, hesitation, things other people miss because they're too busy preparing their next comeback. Control gives you access to deeper information, better judgment, and sharper timing. But control doesn't come naturally. It's a trained habit. It's built one moment at a time.
Every time you resist reacting, you're doing a rep for your mental strength.
Exactly. You don't become mentally strong because you read about it or talked about it. You become mentally strong because you practiced it. When someone tried to bait you into an argument and you walked away, when you held your tongue in a moment of anger, when you stayed quiet and composed while everyone else lost their cool, those are your reps. That's your training ground. And every time you pass that test, your control gets stronger. You stop being reactive. You stop being predictable. You become the person people have to watch more closely because you don't show your hand. You don't give away tells. You don't get flustered.
This isn't about suppressing feelings, but understanding and choosing your response.
Absolutely. Suppression is different from control. Suppression is pretending. Control is power. Suppression is pushing emotions down until they explode. Control is feeling the emotion, understanding it, and choosing your response. That's why emotional intelligence is so essential. It's not soft, it's a core skill. It's the foundation for every tactical decision you'll ever make. If you can't understand what you're feeling or why, you're going to act out of fear, ego, or pride. And those are the worst places to operate from when the stakes are high. Let's say someone confronts you in public, tries to humiliate you. Every part of your body wants to react. Your heart starts racing, your breath shortens, your jaw tightens. That's your nervous system triggering a fight or flight response. If you don't know how to catch it, you'll respond on autopilot, say something reactive that might feel good in the moment, but cost you respect or leverage later. But if you've trained yourself to notice the signs, to slow your breath, to control your voice, to ground your thoughts, you regain your power. You make a conscious choice. And that choice might be to respond with calm clarity, or it might be to say nothing. Either way, you're in charge. This is the hidden superpower of every truly strategic person. Their ability to remain calm when others can't. They don't get distracted by drama. They don't get pulled into games. And they definitely don't give away control over something as important as their mind.
So the question becomes, are you the kind of person who responds because it's necessary or reacts because it's habitual?
Exactly. Most people will never develop this kind of mental control. It's uncomfortable. It takes discipline. It requires you to be honest with yourself. But if you want to outsmart anyone, if you want to walk through life as a strategist, not a reactor, it starts here, with mastery over your thoughts, your triggers, your responses. Because once you master your mind, everything else becomes easier. You stop being driven by emotion. You start making moves with clarity and intent. And no one, not the loudest, not the most confident, not even the most experienced, can rattle you. And that is real power.
People are constantly telling you who they are without saying a single word. Most just start paying attention. This is our third pillar.
The truth is, if you want to outsmart anyone, you can't just listen to what they say. You have to read what they don't say. You have to see the signals behind the smile, the hesitation behind the compliment, the tension behind the handshake. Outsmarting people isn't about being louder, stronger, or faster. It's about being more aware. Humans are creatures of habit, emotion, and ego. They leak information constantly. Microexpressions, body language, voice tone, eye movement, word choice. These are not random, they are signals. And every person, no matter how guarded, has patterns. Once you learn how to recognize those patterns, you stop playing the game blind.
So, starting with the eyes, they're not just windows to the soul, but to the mind.
Exactly. People can fake a smile. They can fake politeness, but the eyes rarely lie. Watch for the flicker, the glance away when asked a question, the delayed blink, the narrowing gaze that comes just a second too late. These moments matter. They're not just quirks, they're tells. Someone says they're confident, but their eyes dart to the floor. That's not confidence, that's performance. Pay attention. Then there's the voice, not the words, but the tone. Is it tight, shaky, controlled, too rehearsed, too eager? When someone is speaking to you, listen not just to what they say, but how they say it. Are they over-explaining? Are they pausing too long before answering simple questions? Are they speaking quickly, trying to fill space? Or slowly, because they're calculating every move? Speed, pitch, rhythm, all of that is data. All of it gives you insight into their inner world.
And watching how someone interacts with those they perceive as less important, that reveals their true character, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Most people only tune into communication when it's directed at them. That's a mistake. You learn the most about someone when they're not speaking to you, but when they think they're not being watched. Watch how someone treats the waiter, the receptionist, the person they think doesn't matter. That's the real version, not the polished performance. That moment when their guard is down, that's where you see the truth.
So it's about understanding, not judging.
Precisely. Reading people isn't about judgment. It's about understanding. If someone walks into a room and makes themselves bigger, broad stance, loud voice, intense eye contact, they're likely trying to project dominance. But is it real confidence or a mask for insecurity? That's the question. And you won't find the answer by confronting them. You find it by observing the details. Watch what happens when someone more dominant enters the room. Do they hold their frame or shrink back?
People are always wearing masks. Your job is to see through them.
Exactly. And those masks are built to protect something: fear, shame, vulnerability, insecurity. Your job is not to rip the mask off. Your job is to see through it. Because once you can see what someone is trying to hide, you gain clarity. You understand their motives. You stop reacting to the surface and start responding to the root. Let's take lying, for example. Most people assume liars avoid eye contact. Not always true. A practiced liar will look you dead in the eye too much because they've been told that's what honesty looks like. But they often overdo it. It's unnatural, and that's your cue. Real eye contact is fluid. It moves. It breathes. It doesn't lock in and stay rigid. When something feels off, trust your gut. Your gut processes information faster than your conscious mind. If your instinct senses something strange, it probably is.
And body language, crossed arms, clenched fists, turned feet, those are all signals too.
They are. Feet that point toward the door while someone pretends to be interested in a conversation, that person wants to leave. Shoulders that rise slightly when answering a question, that's tension, possibly anxiety. A fake smile, you'll see it in the eyes. If the smile doesn't reach them, it's not real. Someone who suddenly stops gesturing with their hands, who freezes up or gets overly still, may be guarding something. Deceptive people often think freezing equals control, but in reality, it reveals internal stress. Honest people typically move naturally, expressively. Their thoughts and bodies are in sync. When someone's words say one thing but their body says another, always believe the body. The most powerful tool you can use to read someone is listening, and not the kind of listening where you're just waiting for your turn to speak. I'm talking about full attention, No distractions, no multitasking, just present, grounded, intentional listening. You'll be shocked at how much people reveal when they feel truly seen. Most people never get that kind of attention. Give it to them, and they'll tell you everything without realizing it.
And what they avoid discussing can be just as telling.
Absolutely. People reveal themselves through what they avoid, the topics they skip, the phrases they use to redirect or deflect, like, let's not get into that, it's complicated, or I don't really remember. Pay attention to where they won't go. That's where the truth usually is. And remember, people want to be understood, but not everyone wants to be exposed. That's the balance. When you read people too aggressively, they feel threatened, they retreat or shut down or become defensive. So you observe quietly, strategically, not to manipulate, but to understand, to navigate, to lead. Reading people isn't a one-time trick. It's a lifestyle, a mindset. The more you practice, the sharper you become. You start seeing things before they happen. You begin to anticipate reactions. You know what someone's going to say before
they say it, not because you're psychic, but because you've trained your attention.
Exactly. You're watching the micro movements, the patterns, the energy shifts. You're decoding the human being behind the performance. And when you can do that, when you can walk into any room, meet any person, and quickly size up who they are, what they want, what they fear, you no longer have to guess. You no longer have to wonder if someone is being real with you. You already know. That level of clarity gives you quiet, unshakable control. And that is how you outsmart anyone. By seeing what others don't, knowing what they can't admit. Our fourth pillar, turn conflict into fuel. Conflict is inevitable. You can't escape it. Whether it's in business, relationships, negotiations, or day-to-day interactions, friction will arise. People will challenge you, doubt you, talk over you, and sometimes outright try to take you down. But here's the secret. Conflict isn't a threat, it's an opportunity. It's one of the few arenas where real power gets revealed. And when used right, conflict isn't something you survive, it's something you use to rise.
Most people run from conflict, but you're saying we should embrace it strategically.
Exactly. Conflict reveals what people are really made of. When someone's under pressure, their mask slips. You see their ego, their insecurities, their strategy, or lack of one. And when you can do that, when you can walk into any room, meet any person, and quickly size up who they are, what they want, what they fear, you no longer have to guess. You no longer have to wonder if someone is being real with you. You already know. That level of clarity gives you quiet, unshakable control. And that is how you outsmart anyone. By seeing what others don't, knowing what they can't admit.
So it's about responding with intent, not reacting out of emotion.
Precisely. Emotional reactions are predictable, messy, and easy to manipulate. Strategic responses are controlled, calculated, and carry weight. Let's say someone publicly questions your credibility in a meeting. The knee-jerk reaction would be to defend yourself immediately. But that's what they want. That's their setup. The chess move? Pause. Hold eye contact. Let the silence stretch. Then, speak slowly, deliberately, perhaps with curiosity. Interesting. What makes you say that? Or, let's unpack that. Are you questioning the strategy or the data?
You've just shifted the power dynamic. The spotlight is on them.
You didn't avoid the conflict, you leaned into it, but on your terms. You made it about clarity, not emotion. They have to back up their attack. And while they scramble, you remain composed, sharp, unbothered. That's how power moves, quietly but unmistakably. Another key is recognizing what the other person really wants. Conflict is almost never about what it looks like on the surface. People argue over details, but it's almost always about respect, control, or recognition. Once you see that, you don't get caught in the content of the conflict, you operate from the context.
So sometimes the best move isn't to fight, but to redirect.
Exactly. Let the other person run out their energy, then pivot the conversation in a direction they didn't expect. Take control without taking the bait. If someone's being combative, shift attention back to solutions. Let's focus on what gets us the result we both want. You've reframed the conflict from personal to strategic, and that makes you look like the adult in the room. But there will also be moments when you need to hold the line, to respond with strength, not aggression, but authority. Call out the behavior without emotion. That's not how I do business. Or, respect needs to go both ways.
The separation of emotion from strategy, that's the power player.
They don't take conflict personally. They analyze it, they use it. They understand that when someone is trying to rattle you, they're showing you their hand. Conflict reveals patterns. Once you spot the pattern, you control the game. So when conflict arises, don't shrink, don't attack. Observe, learn, then move. Mastering conflict means knowing when to speak and when to pause, when to assert and when to pivot, when to challenge directly and when to let the silence speak for you. Conflict will come, it's part of life, but you get to choose what it becomes, a distraction or a demonstration of your strength. This brings us to our final pillar. Most people are playing checkers while life is playing chess. They make moves based on what's right in front of them, emotional decisions, knee-jerk reactions, whatever feels good or easy in the moment. But the ones who win, the ones who consistently rise above, they think 3 moves ahead.
They're not reacting to the now. They're already in the next phase, preparing for outcomes that haven't even entered other people's minds yet.
Playing checkers in a chess game is how people get blindsided. They get caught up in the small stuff, surface-level wins, and forget there's a much bigger board at play. They chase validation instead of influence. They defend themselves over nonsense. They try to win arguments instead of winning position. That's short-term thinking. It might get you a few claps, maybe a temporary advantage, but it doesn't build real power. It doesn't make you untouchable. It doesn't give you control.
So how did chess players think differently?
They don't just ask, what happens if I do this? They ask, what will they do next and how can I use it? This kind of thinking requires restraint and discipline. You've got to suppress the ego that wants to win right now. You've got to be willing to lose a battle to win the war. That's where most people fall apart. They don't like the discomfort of holding back. But the real win often comes from staying silent, from observing, from waiting for the exact right moment to strike.
So applying this to decision-making, it's not just about what looks good now, but what aligns with your long-term vision.
Exactly. You're offered an opportunity, more money, more visibility. A checker's move is to say yes, but the chess thinker asks, what does this opportunity cost me in 5 years? What does it align me with? Who does it put me next to? What doors might it close while this one opens? They're thinking about the ecosystem, the ripple effects, and sometimes that leads to saying no to something good now so you can say yes to something great later. This is also how you protect yourself. If you can see 3 moves ahead, you're less likely to be manipulated, caught off guard, or played. You learn to smell motive, not just message.
And timing is everything, knowing when not to move.
That's one of the hardest lessons. You don't have to respond right now. You don't have to act today. Sometimes the smartest move is waiting, letting people underestimate you, letting them think they've won while you're quietly laying down your next 5 steps. That kind of restraint is rare, but when you've got it, you're playing on a completely different level. Everything changes when you shift your mindset from short-term wins
to long-term position. You stop living move to move and start playing the whole board. You become intentional, focused, tactical. When others realize you're not just thinking about what's happening now, but what happens next and next and next, they stop trying to outplay you because deep down, they know they're still playing checkers and you're already 10 moves ahead. In a world where everyone is rushing to speak, to react, to win fast and loud, you're gonna do the opposite. You're gonna slow down, listen harder, see deeper, and move smarter. You're gonna stop playing checkers with people who don't even understand the rules of the game you're mastering. This isn't about out-talking anyone. It's about outthinking them, out-positioning them, outsmarting them.
The most powerful people in the room are rarely the loudest. They're the ones who know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to push and when to wait. They play for position, not attention.
So here's the truth. If you want to outsmart anyone, it's not about being the most educated or the most experienced. It's about being the most aware, the most emotionally disciplined, the most prepared. Master your mind, read the room, use silence like a blade, turn conflict into fuel, think beyond the moment. That's how you win without needing to crush anyone. That's how you become someone who can't be shaken, baited, or broken. Stop reacting, start strategizing. This isn't about playing harder, it's about playing smarter. Checkmate.
Olivia, this has been a masterclass in human behavior and strategic thinking. It's truly about mastering your mindset and unlocking your full potential.
Absolutely, Jason. These insights are designed to empower our Take and Grow community to navigate any social or professional situation with quiet, unshakable power.
If this episode resonated with you and you're ready to start playing chess instead of checkers, please hit that like button.
And if you're serious about building confidence, developing success habits, and truly mastering your mindset, subscribe to Take and Grow for more transformative content. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear this powerful message.
We'd love to hear from you. Which of these strategies, outsmarting yourself, using silence, decoding the unspoken, embracing conflict, or playing chess, will you focus on mastering first? Let us know in the comments below.
Thanks for tuning in to Take and Grow. We'll see you in the next episode.